So the other day we dove into the sort of roadmap for what Season 1 has in store and beyond for us with Black Ops 6 and Warzone. But in being thorough, I wanted to take a look at every little detail that we can give you and the full picture of what's to come with Season 1 and how Warzone is changing exactly, because Black Ops 6 does introduce a lot of different technical changes as well as additional content. So we've talked, of course, about Omni movement and stuff, but that's not the case here. I don't want to touch on high-level things. In this, we're talking weapon price changes, perk changes, inventory system changes and replacements, loot dispersion changes, and stuff like that. We're talking everything that we know about how Black Ops 6 is changing the future of Warzone. So drop your thoughts down below, drop a like if you enjoyed the video, and make sure to subscribe for more Black Ops 6 coverage and join us on that road to 600,000 subscribers. I'd love to have you in the community. But for now, let's jump into it. First, let's talk weapons. Obviously, we know that integration is happening, so on top of the existing Modern Warfare 2 and Modern Warfare 3 weapons, however many weapons are introduced at launch and then into Season 1 with Black Ops 6 is how many we'll have available in the Warzone experience, bringing your total close to 200, I think, with what I believe is like 138-ish weapons in the game currently, but we know that's going to be happening. But what about loadouts and how they're going to be changing within this integration as well? Well, as we've seen since Modern Warfare 2, Modern Warfare 3, now with the Black Ops 6 integration, we're going to have that integration of some of the fundamental systems in play for Create a Class, but we're going to see differentiations compared to what we have now versus what will be in Season 1 with this integration, because things like your perk packs are not going to be available anymore. You're going to have a pick 3 system, and you're not going to have additional things like the combat specialties. We'll get to all of that in a second, but one of the big things is that wildcards are going to be introduced in loadouts, and that might be one of the biggest changes to not only just the weaponry that we have available in our custom loadouts, but also in the ability to buy things as well. Wildcards introduces things like Gunfighter, which means you can take 8 attachments per weapon. But what happens to those weapons that you have 8 attachments on with the current and upcoming ability to buy those directly? Introduced with Warzone 2 and Modern Warfare 2's Season 1 integration, you had the ability to buy individual weapons, not just your loadouts themselves. In Black Ops 6 Warzone, normal loadout weapons at the buy station cost $2,500 in cash. Gunfighter weapons, though, just by adding 3 additional attachments onto these, will cost $6,000. So well more than your standard weapon would cost, but it poses a question of money management for your weaponry. Do you save that little bit for your loadout and get perhaps 2 weapons with 5 attachments, or do you spend the extra cash, get your kitted weapon with 8 attachments but no perks, no secondary, nothing? It's an interesting balance that I feel like the pricing might not be all that bad, but at first glance, it might be a bit of that sticker shock at that price. But hey, maybe get your loadout, have 1 primary weapon with 8 in there, your perks, and then buy another weapon, and you'll have overkill 2 8 attachment weapons. Or maybe we'll just end up seeing the reintroduction of the 2 loadout meta. Buy your first loadout, get that first class with 8 attachments on 1 weapon, and then get that free loadout and get the second. The choice is yours, but a curveball to how you'll end up buying and getting your weapons in the process. Now, next, let's talk a little bit about the inventory system on a deeper level than just mentioning that backpacks are gone, because they are. They are being removed. Introduced in Warzone 2, I personally liked some of the aspects of the system where we have it now, not back with Warzone 2's launch when there were small, medium, and large bags that didn't transfer upon killing an enemy, or even if you ended up coming back from like the gulag or something and you had a large backpack, you couldn't pick that back up again. But the ability to carry more of what you wanted was nice to a degree. I think there absolutely could have been a cap on things like self-revives or shrieks to avoid spam, but I do like the separate utility spots, especially for plates and armor. I saw no harm in taking more of the standard allotments for whatever ammo type you thought you needed more of, or more armor plates, but in Warzone post-BO6 integration, we will instead have a finite cap of everything, and it will reintroduce the ability of Warzone to just run over loot like you had in Warzone 1, collecting everything up until that cap is hit, and then you go on. Now, to some degrees, this speeds up the pace of play. You don't have to worry about inventory management and so on, but it also limits things a bit more. In that same vein, the new Warzone experience will keep those two mentioned things in the ability to take more, both ammo and armor plates, but this time in the way of new satchels. That's the replacement here and the sort of balancing effect they're attempting, as opposed to letting you take however much of an item you want of whatever item you want. The new satchels coming will be existing alongside and in addition to the ones in the game currently. So your medic, tempered, comms, and stealth vest introduced in Warzone 2 will still be there, but in addition, you'll have 2 more. The armor satchel and the ammo satchel, both effectively doubling your automatic max capacity, but you cannot take both as you could in the backpack era of Warzone. So if you want to end up taking more ammunition, you think you're just going to absolutely burn through everything, you can take the ammo vest, but you won't be able to take excess armor plates, and vice versa. Perks are going to be changing in a couple of different ways, both perks that are available and then how they interact with the create a class system. Starting with the perks available, we'll end up having available to use Scavenger, Grenadier, Reflexes, Veteran, Dexterity, Survivor, Quartermaster, Cold-Blooded, Tracker, Bomb Squad, Sprinter, Quick Fix, Resolute, Gung Ho, Ghost, Bird's Eye, Tempered, and Alertness. Notably, from a Black Ops 6 parity perspective, combat specialties will not be something that transfers into Warzone from Black Ops 6. So you're not going to have those designations among tier 1, 2, and 3 of your perks like you do in Black Ops 6. You just simply have a pick 3 system of pick 3 of those perks. Now, existing perks are being updated also to consolidate perks. A lot of the times it seems like this is the lower pick rate perks, things that aren't often used in the selection, but not necessarily like totally useless where they want to get rid of the effects in the gameplay loop altogether. For example, Grenadier is a combination of 2 perks, both Combat Scout and Tracker. This one did get an audible groan from our pre-COD Next briefing, by the way, when the developers were talking to us. Obviously, seeing your footsteps is pretty important, but also Combat Scout is pretty annoying. So having those both into one is something that you can probably understand why people might not be too happy about that one. And Sprinter is a combination of another 2 perks, Double Time and Escapist. So when Double Time is likely a higher pick rate item, mixing it with something like Escapist that increases the downed crawl speed, obviously that's nice to have, but it also isn't going to get picked by itself. So combining those two, consolidating, is a nice touch, I think. The create a class system, again, as we mentioned, you have a pick 3 system with no combat specialties. Perk packs are also no longer at the buys, but you can find perks in custom packs, say from dead enemies. If you end up looting your own body again, you come back from the gulag. You can find a few lootable perks like you could before back in Warzone 1, with some lootable perks actually being exclusive to that lootable perk pool. And then Specialist bonus will be returning here from the Season 1 integration. You don't have to wait for it to come back at any point in a post-launch season. Specialist is going to be there in rare crates, but then also available from the buy station like we have it now, where it costs $30,000. With the Black Ops 6 integration, we'll also end up seeing mobility changes, allowing you to have unlimited tac sprint, which honestly, I'm really excited about. I love that about the Modern Warfare 3 Warzone that we have right now with the bunkers and Urzikstan, where you can get those tac sprint boots, but to have that as just a default capability is pretty cool. But it's only going to be available 2 different ways. Number 1, via your dedicated melee slot. Of course, you always will have a melee on you as you do in Black Ops 6 multiplayer, so if you just hold that melee button down, bring out your melee weapon, so long as you have it out, you can tactical sprint to your heart's content. But it's also been detailed that there's going to be a dedicated perk with it. Based off of the list shown, I would have imagined it would be Sprinter, but that's something we learned is Double Time plus Escapist. So unless they end up changing Double Time to be something that has unlimited tac sprints in Black Ops 6 integration, we don't quite know. Things even down to loot dispersion are going to be changed with Black Ops 6's integration here, where loot is firstly going to be better spread on the ground when coming out of both ground loot boxes and also when a player is killed. So you shouldn't hopefully be fumbling over a bunch of different items that you want to pick up that one specific thing, but you keep picking up the throwing knife or tactical or whatever the case here with it. That should hopefully be resolved with this update and the Season 1 integration. The UI is also noticeably different on those loot items, plus loot outlines and rarity colors are returning for additional quick recognition. I still personally think the original Warzone 1 was the best looking in regards to that UI of different items and quick recognition. It was very apparent what was common, rare, legendary, and epic, but it is definitely nice to see that kind of stuff coming back. And then next, one of the things that I'm curious to see if people will enjoy it or not, or if it's something that in my mind I'm kind of inflating how much of a problem it could be, is third-person emoting will be a thing introduced here at this. Of course, we do know that we have emotes and sprays coming back with Black Ops 6, and as with how Blackout worked and how Black Ops 4 worked, these emotes will put you into third person, also happening in Battle Royale. So it's not the first time that a COD Battle Royale has seen this, but the first time that Warzone has. So popping you into third person could give a third-person peeker's advantage, allowing you to see where an enemy is while you're completely behind cover. But again, with it being something that the animation is so drawn out, it's a very high-risk, high-reward type of situation just for playing for information. So whether or not, again, it becomes something that may be a problem if so many people use it versus don't, we don't don't quite know. And the final thing that I think we've really yet to talk about in regards to how it will perform in Warzone is global weapon builds. Now, global weapon builds are going to be something that across multiplayer, zombies, and Warzone will end up being sort of like real-time and live changes made to your weapons. The way that it makes sense to me here based off of what has been described is that you have, of course, your base weapon, and you have blueprints that you can make custom. But let's say you make that custom blueprint in multiplayer and have it equipped in both multiplayer and Warzone. If you change like the optic or something on that custom blueprint in multiplayer, it won't immediately affect the custom blueprint in Warzone until these global weapon builds come into play. You don't have to save another custom blueprint to see that change enacted across all the other modes within the COD experience. It will just happen automatically. And that's where global weapon builds will differ from just, say, saved custom blueprints. So a lot of stuff is going to be coming from top level items, but also down to just more minuscule things as well. And again, as we mentioned in the past, things like your mantling improvements, your self-revive pickups, downed enemies no longer triggering high alert, bounty threat level audio cues, modifications to ascenders and zip lines, changes to infill and exfil sequences. A lot of stuff like that, the quality of life things we've mentioned in the past, are also going to be coming. So there is a lot on deck with the Black Ops 6 integration for Warzone that foundationally and fundamentally change a lot of what we have with Warzone right now. So just wanted to fill you guys in and kind of let you know everything to expect upcoming, but that's where we're going to wrap it up. Let me know your thoughts down below. What do you guys think of this here in relation to the future of Warzone? Anything in particular you really enjoy? Maybe not so much. Whatever the case, drop your thoughts. But if you enjoyed the video, you found it at all insightful, do me a favor and drop a like on it. And if you are new to the channel, make sure you subscribe so you don't miss a single thing regarding all things Black Ops 6, Warzone, and other FPS coverage. I would love to have you in the community as we chase down 600,000 subscribers. But for now, thanks so much for watching. Mine has been Espresso. I'll see you later. Take care and peace.